I think let's jump into setting the tone for 2025. And let's just jump right into that. And I think what we'll do here is Noah sharing your word for 2025, what
Hmm.
2025 is going to look for you. And then maybe as you share that, what are like 2 to 3 tips that you would accompany with like having a strong 2025 for the audience from your
Yeah,
perspective?
yeah, definitely. Um, my word is balance, is what I've thought about because this perseverance and that using all this stuff I had to do in 2024 kind of made things a little out of balance.
Mm,
I think I still had pretty solid balance as much as I could. And thank you for your affirmation there, Mac. Like I did do a lot of things physically and kept my health better, and I still had time for relationships and things like that. But it always felt like I was squeezing it in. Everything was
mm,
such a tight schedule, and any free time I had to study. So this next year, I want to be about balance. If I could, I'd use other words like rest, restoration, healing, that sort of thing, and having some fun, that sort of stuff too, and engaging in like hobbies and different things. Playing some guitar, that's something I put away for a long time. So stuff like that. And I think tips for a strong 2025. So 2024 was a very strong year for me. I got a lot done. I only had 2 relapses the whole year, so it's only 2 days.
excellent,
Only
dude.
Yeah, so only 2 bad days out of 2025. So like 363 days, and there's a few more days here, but I yeah, I'm very proud of that. In 2025, I want to be completely sober the whole year, but the only way I do that is by focusing on the process, and that's a little bit of what I heard Max saying a bit earlier. Not the destination. It's a
Mm,
process. It's a lifestyle. It's an identity we lean into, and porn falls away over time. We outgrow it. So I want to continue to do that. And practical tips. Um, I love the fast check-in. I love the accountability Mac and I have. Um, but I would say the mantra of one day at a time is a mantra in 12-step communities and addiction communities for a reason. And I think that don't get too swallowed up in uh, the arrival point.
mm.
For me, it was always 90 days because I was like, if I can get to 90 days, my brain will be rewired. Neuroplasticity takes 90 days to close these neural pathways or whatever. So
Sure.
like I would always just have my sight there, but each day is the most important day. If you make, like it's right in front of you. It's the now. So I'd say be able to have this one day at a time to be able to say, what can I do to get through today?
Right.
um, I think is a really good mindset when, especially in the really early days. There's also a saying that I've heard an AA saying that it's easier to be sober for 10 years than it is to be sober for 2 months. Uh,
Mm,
it's just really interesting. It kind of like it's very hard to get past the initial period. And then later on there's things we have to do and look out for, but it's kind of like you're flying a plane, and now you can kind of just make sure it's on course, and check in with it, make sure to continually check in, but the takeoff is where the most focus and effort is put in.
great point,
So
dude. That's
yeah,
such a good point.
yeah, that's what I would say is like you really there was a lot of practical tips I used really early on that I think about coming back to every now and then, but I don't quite need to go that full throttle. But in the beginning, I did. Um, I would write down the recovery activities I did for the day. I'd write down any unsound activity or slips, and I'd make sure I put pluses for the recovery activities I did, and I put minuses for the slips. Some of those slips they're not maybe only porn related, but could be um, double look, double
Right.
looking at an attractive person, or even like overeating, or kind of going to some other thing. But yeah, that I give credit to Matt Dobshoots of Porn Free Radio for that tool. He has an episode on it. But uh, but yeah, I would have a T chart, and I'd have pluses and minuses. Pluses were recovery activities, minuses were slips. And if I didn't do any recovery activities, and nor did I have any slips, it's a -1. So
Mm,
and that makes it more about just, oh, did I use it or not? Did I use porn or not? because that's sobriety, but that's not recovery. You know, are you actually doing recovery oriented things? Some of those pluses would be I went to a group today, or I exercised today, I worked out today, I meditated today, uh, whatever those things could be. So I talked to a friend, I called a friend, or I helped somebody, I did something important or meaningful. So those are, I think those are two tips: the plus and minus, one day at a time, focusing on the day, and then uh, I let me see, that's two already. I think thinking of thinking of balance, thinking of making sure that you're how are you doing in your relationships? How are you doing physically? How's your health? Are you exercising? How are you doing spiritually? Whatever that might mean for you. Um, your purpose in life, these sorts of things, and kind of that's what Mac and I's check-ins allow us to do, is kind of audit ourselves. Like how are we feeling about this stuff? I think it's a great thing to think about at this New Year time, is to really think about like, what do I want out of this year? And I like to think about goals as this kind of piece of the pie, kind of like financial, physical, relational, socially, hobbies, things I get better at and do
Right.
for fun, and that helps me. So, because you can focus on the one day at a time, but you still have like a compass, you still have a goal out there, something you're moving toward. Smart goals. There's all sorts of tools, but I'd say that those would be mine.
Cool, man. I love it. Uh, yeah, and something about balance too. It's always a good disclaimer going to New Year's is like don't don't go in so freaking hard
Yes.
that like you just burn yourself out. Like I try to like tell myself that like every year. And like the
Yeah.
best way to made it to put that into words is like just going to the gym, right? It'd be
Hmm.
like just trying to squat like 400 pounds your first day back after being off for like 6 months or something,
Yeah.
and
Or
then the
work out
next
every
day
day.
you just like want to
You're
die.
Yeah, exactly. Or work out every day, even though you weren't working out at all. That's gonna
Yeah.
stall that aircraft, right? It's gonna
Yeah.
stall the plane. It's like we take off straight up, and then they're just gonna stall out and crash.
Well, yeah, or
It's
it's like it's
steady.
it's like you're just using all the fuel just to get off the ground, and then there's no fuel for like the rest of the flight.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
So it's kind of like what can like help get you off the ground, but then like what's gonna help like keep you in the air,
Right. Right. Yeah.
and can it be something you can do on a daily basis
And can
that's
there
easy?
can there be other people that help with that too, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, I think for me, if I was to give three tips, I think that you kind of led into that one was like just people like connecting. I
Mhm.
think connection's huge. I don't think recovery is, gosh, to just do it completely by yourself. Like, I think that's what we try to do. A lot of us is we thought we were, it's like you thought you were trying to quit porn, but you don't really even know what you're doing
Yeah.
because you're alone. You're just trying to do it on your own. You have nobody to help you with accountability or to, I think, go through life with to where you can bounce ideas off each other or share what you're going through with somebody else. So I think that was one of the biggest things I ever did was like 5 years ago was connection. And like I got in touch with a Christian therapist. That really helped me out with my journey in recovery because we did a lot of work that went back to my childhood to really understand like, hey, it's not just because like porn is something that like boys do. It's actually like I'm actually doing it to medicate a childhood pain that I've had since childhood that when I was a child, I got wrapped into porn because I was curious, because just like most people, right? Most kids, it's something curious, you're a boy, you're attracted, but then it gets its hooks into you to uh numb or to medicate or to allow you to run away from whatever feelings you're feeling that are not comfortable, that the pain. And for me, it was a way to medicate. So I was able to really find that out through therapy. I think I've shared before, like being a part of a Bible study group. I'm a part of a weekly recovery group right now. It's like a 52 week program with Vern Tomke, another great voice in this community. He's the host of the Finding Traction podcast and Pastors on Porn podcast, my mentor. He's fantastic. So weekly group, I've done one-on-one coaching before, also just therapy in general. So, and then having Noah as accountability partner. I think if you're just trying to do this completely by yourself, I think that's something that it's not a great idea. It's only going to last for who knows how long. But typically, when you're doing it on your own, you're really just focusing on willpower. And I think you can get to a place maybe at some point where you're more on your own, but it's not now. If you're struggling with it, you really got to surround yourself with people that have a healthy mindset about this, that are trying to better themselves. And I would really, I think a tip would just be find somebody a little bit ahead of you. That was one of the best, I think, pieces of advice I got when I was looking like how do I get connected? Who do I get connected with? It's like my therapist, like find someone a little bit ahead of you that knows a little bit more, that is a little bit more, has a little bit more time under their belt with this, and they can help you look ahead at, what are what's the minefield look like? Like what are some common